it comes in through the room or if we need a jobber. Okay, cool.
No, I mean, if you all could, I mean, I don't know that we need everybody to join the meeting except Steffanie, right?
If we're able to talk through the room and she's able to hear us, I think that's fine. Unless you just want to look on your phone or on your phone, on your computer at things.
Hi, Stephen.
Steffanie, this is Paige. Can you hear me?
Hi, Paige. Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Mary,
Awesome.
You ask.
Hey, Steffanie, it's Mary. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hi, Mary.
Hi.
Do the mic check.
We're in a big conference room, so we're just my computer, but everybody's going to be here in just a few minutes. We just took a bathroom break from another meeting that we were in. I don't think I can get our cameras to work to show everybody. So we might not be on the screen, but we can see you and we can hear you.
Right. That's great. Yeah. So how are y'all?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Doing great. Yeah. Have y'all had any of that bad weather that's been in? I know in some parts of Kentucky, I've seen like some flooding pictures and stuff like that from, friends in the area.
Yeah, I live in Frankfurt and it got pretty flooded downtown. But thankfully could have been a lot worse than what it was.
Oh,
But,
yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't have flooding at my house. I don't live in an area that floods, but there's a school near my house. We call it Bessie Clark Lake because there's like a little kind of sinkhole off right next to the school. And
Oh my gosh.
when there's water, it just becomes like a lake.
Man.
Do we, are we supposed to be joining our teams as silently or?
you sure can, but you don't have to because we're all able to talk through this room. So if we just want to look at the big screen, we can. I'm recording this.
Good
so-
for Heidi
Yep. So we
or for somebody.
It's
for Kelly.
Kelly.
Just make sure I'm recording.
So and stop.
Stop transcript.
Oh, I got it.
That's what Heidi told me to do.
Oh, I always do. But not.
I don't know, those were just her instructions.
Whatever Heidi wants.
It's like Laura's joining us as well. So
I'm here in the same room. I just was putting on my camera so you didn't have to stare at a blank screen.
that's good. Yeah. I like that. Like to see smiling faces. Yeah.
Oh, yum. Are you making cakes again?
Tyler's feet.
Evan makes it on
Ooh.
Sunday, and so I was like, I'm gonna have to take some to work because I keep eating it when I'm working from home and I can't do that.
So Stephanie, I think everybody, all the gift officers, were going to look at all of the list. Christy Turner took all the information and did all those NXT lists for all the
Yep.
different colors and for the major gift prospects and everything. And I think they were going to come, with questions unless you had something you wanted to start with.
Well,
We're open
that's
to either way.
perfect. That's perfect. Yeah. So I think any kind of questions that y'all have, that sounds like a good way to spend our time together today.
Did you all, anybody come with questions? Or do you want to go through the list?
Go through. It's a lot of data, so for me, it's like I need to kind of be walked.
I just went through the list and yeah, I looked at the.
For me, Stephanie, one question I had, and it's just logistical, is in your PowerPoint presentation, the colors were not true.
Ah,
So I couldn't tell who was in the lilac,
Okay.
versus, to see how many donors were in those boxes. And that's just something little,
yeah.
but I did go through the list. And that was
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah. So I'll make a note to kind of revise those colors.
And it could be my computer.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
did have one question when I was looking at the lists. I'm trying to figure out why somebody would end up in a top major giving prospect list, but their research point major gift capacity value was 0.
All right, yeah, I think, can you give me a name on that? And we can actually look and see. I'm pretty sure I know what's going on here.
I can't remember that one, but I know of one person who also was on a different list that had a research point, major gift capacity of 0. And I think it's because this person, his name is Greg Millward. He lives on Ashwood. And I can't figure out why in the world research point would say he had a major gift capacity value of 0.
All right, the last name is Miller, is that correct? Is that-
Millward,
Milward.
Greg.
Milward? Yeah, so I'm in your research point and I'm pretty sure I know what's going on here. So I'm going to share my screen.
Because there was
That's-
more than one like that. So I think I was just curious.
Yeah. Yeah, so let me just look at this real quick. Yeah. All right. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I have Greg open here. So are we seeing Greg?
We are. Yep.
So usually what happens if we see this major giving capacity of 0 for someone who's got either some high major giving likelihood scores or other high wealth indicators, what this means is it's just not automatically confirming assets, especially real estate. So, and in most cases, what this means is that they do not own the property necessarily in their own name. So this is actually a very common thing with people with some high wealth information. So we'll see here, one thing we're noticing here is we have a lot of historical properties. So we're going to go ahead and filter those out. We're just going to go for our current and new ones. And this is interesting. We're not showing any current or new properties for Greg. So something is definitely going on with that one. So, but we'll clear it out and we can kind of use him as an example to see, how some of this might happen. So when we're looking here, we see these properties that are in these LLCs. This may be, this Liberty Land, this may be an LLC that Greg is using to own property, but we don't automatically confirm that unless both the name and the address match. So if you see somebody who does have a high major giving likelihood and a 0 major giving capacity, a lot of times that's what's going on, that it's just not automatically confirming those assets. So let me just kind of see if I.
That's the address, the 360 East Vine is his business. I know that. So those are possibly a bunch of things owned by his business too, that he's the head of the insurance company and that's his.
It makes sense. I saw that on a couple of people and I thought, more than anything, I was just like, I want to be sure there's not some glitch going on.
Right,
That just wasn't making sense. And I also knew that this donor definitely was not a 0 major.
Right, exactly. But yeah, that's something that's actually pretty common. So we are very conservative in what we automatically confirm for a given capacity. So for example, if we did go in and manually confirm some of these, that would add a given capacity for Greg. But yeah, usually if you do see those high likelihood scores, or if it's someone who's very wealthy and you know it, and there's that 0 capacity, that usually what it means is they're owning it in LLCs or trusts, or even if it's, in some cases I'll see where the real estate recording agent misspelled a name, or even if it was an initial, like in some cases, if it said GB Millward, it might not automatically confirm because it's only a partial name match.
So gift officers, when you do your $500 up screenings, are you going into assets and actually physically confirming? We should be. you should be going up to that assets tab. And if it's not already a 5 with a check and you know it's their house, you know they own it, you know, then we should be
The ones that.
checking the ones that we
Yeah.
know. Yeah,
I usually just don't know that.
yeah.
But yeah.
And you can always confirm LLCs and things like that on the Kentucky State Secretary website if you don't know how to do that. Sure.
Exactly.
PVA to do properties, so, yeah.
Oh, PVA loves me.
Yeah, me too. I use it all the time.
I did the same thing, you know, when I was, you know, in your positions. So I had, yeah, the property assessors, you know, the business registration sites, all of those are bookmarked. I think they actually still are bookmarked on my Google bookmarks for state of Florida and Brevard County.
Well, if we didn't come with names, let's go ahead and kind of go through some of the lists as a group and have you kind of walk us through and let's ask when we see them in front of us.
All right, so I do not have access to your NXT. So if someone who has access to the list in NXT wants to share, that would be great.
Or you can do that if you want me to.
It'd probably be faster if you do it.
Hold on. Sorry, because I also didn't. I will do it just a second. I gotta join the meeting. I laughed.
Paige, you may want to mute or, yeah,
Yeah.
we're getting an echo somewhere.
You gotta mute your computer.
It's muted. I'm just laughing it's me being faster
Yeah.
at working teams.
Marketing teams, you can do Razor's Edge. We should combine forces.
Yeah, the problem is finding sharing on here.
Tough.
Well, yeah, but I can't. Okay,
All right, yes.
this is just the last one I was looking at. If you all have, which one do you want to see? This is the top plan giving prospects. Is there a different one you all would rather see? Major gift likelihood? I mean, you all tell me.
I looked in the specific colors. What are you all-
I'm looking at the lilac.
Let's go to lilac.
That's,
Okay.
that was my favorite.
There, this third one.
Okay, there we go. Can you see that well enough, Stephanie?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, so Stephanie, just reorient us so we know what we're looking at, and then we can ask questions you all
Yeah, absolutely. So looks like you may have this sorted on your target gift range, which is good. So when I'm looking at this list, you know, I'm just starting with James. So the interesting thing that I'm noticing with James right off the bat is he have a $25,000 target gift range, but his largest gift is $800. So this to me, my thought if I'm looking at James is, you know, what's our strategy to get an increased gift from him? Because it looks like he's got, you know, targeted for a much larger gift range than his current giving. So one of the things that I would look at, you know, look at, you know, kind of the history of past contacts. And do you all have an opportunity set for him? It looks like he's on hold right now, but
Yeah, there should be some opportunities for him. His mother-in-law just passed in our care.
Ah.
And so, but they've recently given in memory of her and have purchased a leaf in her memory. So they typically give anywhere between, I think, $600 and $800 multiple times throughout the year. So they're
Okay.
really in almost $2,000 is a year gift for them, not just an $800 gift in a year.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that because that 25,000 seemed awfully high if they were giving just 800 a year. But if it's 800 multiple times a year, if their, annual giving is more like the 2,000, that kind of makes sense. So, with his mother-in-law's passing, I understand it's definitely a kind of delicate time and put it on hold. But do you have any kind of sense that there might be like some kind of special naming project or something like that that he might be interested in that might, kind of spur him to make a larger gift?
So I've met with them last year and got to meet them for the first time. I do think that they are interested in doing more, but they are both teachers and it's really difficult to meet with them during the day
Right.
and connecting with them that way. They do only really prefer email communication as well. So that is just the challenge in moving that relationship forward with them is finding the time and getting in front of them for that.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So it sounds like, you kind of got some stuff kind of going on with them.
Yeah.
I would say the next step would again to be that get that giving to kind of increase, maybe if they're giving like 2,000 a year now, in kind of different increments, maybe even look toward an ask that would get them closer to that 5,000 a year.
Yeah, I think the goal is around 5,000 for a 2-year commitment. To try and at least get them thinking beyond that 800 every few months.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And again, they can split it up in the few months as they see fit. So that's good. Looks like we got kind of a plan for James. So moving on to the next one, Nancy. Looks like Nancy is not assigned at this point. So,
She is an employee.
Yeah, she's an employee. She's an employee, so she probably isn't assigned
for that reason.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. So we'll kind of move on down to Dennis. So Dennis is also not assigned and has that $10,000 target gift range. So just in looking at this, to me, it looks like Dennis should be assigned to a gift officer.
I think the one thing that I would argue against in this is just because they have a target gift range of 10 to 25,000, they really only have a lifetime giving of 600. Their first gift was in 2016, and their largest gift has only been $100. I think I want to dig in deeper to see what their actual affinity and connection to us is. They didn't give it all last year. And so I would say, yeah, maybe a qualification could happen before assignment and see, but that would be kind of my initial on that one. And again, I struggle sometimes with some of these target gift ranges when they show up so high like this, when their giving doesn't necessarily reflect that with us. And so I think keeping in mind maybe that just because they're giving with us doesn't reflect that means we need to look a little bit deeper into their research point too. Maybe there's other things in research point that are pointing towards why their target gift range is 10,000 to 25. And is that just meaning we need to do some work to engage them some more to get them closer to what that target gift range is? Or
Right.
is there something else that we need to look at?
Yeah, I think this is a
Yeah.
great tool for figuring out and qualifying the Dennis Andersons. I think for
Yeah.
others, if you look at the next one, that one's mine, John Austin. He's a board member. 10 to 25,000 is absolutely not going to happen ever. I mean, I just know him. I've had the conversations. That's not going to happen. So that,
Right.
I'm sure that's a bunch of things that's drawing on. And he'll stay assigned as a board member. But if we get in the $5,000 to $10,000 range with him, that's going to be a huge gift. So I think a lot of this has to go, it's a combination. It's a tool, but it's not the be all and say all.
Exactly. It's both, this is, these ratings are the science, and then there's the art involved. Because like I said, enough about your particular donors. In some cases, like I said, with John that, for various reasons, that's not, a good range for him. So, and then, so that, because there's a lot of things that, the ratings don't show, all those other factors, that don't figure in. But I'm just looking at Dennis over in Research Point, and I think one of the reasons Dennis Anderson does have such a high target gift range is he has $73 million in confirmed real estate holdings.
It's good. It's Anderson.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Anderson Homes.
Yeah.
It's his
Yes.
company's home.
It's
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, $10,000 with that level of wealth might not be very much.
Right.
So yeah, he probably needs a little bit more qualification really to find out, what's his engagement potential? Is there an event we can invite him to, something like that.
Hey, scoot down to some that aren't assigned, because we're pretty familiar with the ones that are assigned.
I also want to just point out too, for just a reminder to everybody, that the target gift range doesn't necessarily mean what their next gift should be with us. That's what our goal is, to get them to a $10,000 to $25,000 gift, because that's where they rated. But it could take 2-3 years or more to get them to that. That's the target, not the necessarily the next gift ask.
Absolutely.
So I just sorted this because Laura wanted to look at people who aren't assigned.
Yes.
So now we're at quote unquote the top again with James Horn.
Okay.
Hmm.
I just
Right.
spoke to him to thank him for his most recent gift, answered the phone, but didn't really want to talk. Appreciate the call.
And this is the gentleman who he does it, I believe, automatically
EFT, yeah.
through something he found through PayPal. And they send us $50 a month. And occasionally we'll make a memorial gift, but usually it's $50 a month that comes through PayPal.
All right.
And that's the one that wanted us to set up PayPal. Memory serves.
All right, we know Sandra. Let's get down to James Claycomb. Is he on your radar, Stephen?
He's the one that doesn't want to be.
He is on my radar. I have reached out to him at the end of March, but not on my radar for portfolio just yet, I don't think. But somebody that I should be qualifying for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. He just gave within the last few weeks.
Yeah.
So.
But James Harden in Lexington, we know anything about him?
No, he's really just giving $100 quarterly. But we don't have a good phone number. So I've had to just send notes. And Stephen was sending notes before previously forever and ever and ever. So we haven't had a good phone number.
Does the email address that you have for him, does that get a response?
It's an email finder. It does not look
Ah.
accurate. It says CK Harden1 at AOL.
Yeah.
I did not feel confident about that email. So,
Right. No. So, maybe with James,
He's
one of
right.
the. So maybe our next step with him is to get, some better contact information if possible.
Well, we don't have a researcher here, and so that's really kind of an issue. If it's not a public phone number, which most cell phones are not, we don't really have a way of finding them at this point.
Total assets,
Right.
it says that, it's just 300.
Yeah. Do you all have LexisNexis by any chance?
We do not,
Ah, okay. Yeah.
we don't have a lot of the tools to do that kind of deeper research yet.
Yeah.
I think how I would use these lists and this one in particular and some of the other ones is for our team as we are, because we just talked about how we need to do better at blessing and releasing. That
Yes.
these are the lists that we need to be going to when we bless and release people, and we're trying to find people to put onto our sideline to then move into qualification. These are the lists that we want to assign, put in identification, that we can, if we have the time, do a little bit of that research, do a little bit of that finding out more about them. And as you bless and release, move these people over into qualification, do more of that qualification work on them, and then bless and release or move them into cultivation.
So Stephanie, while we have you here, if, I'm just gonna pick on Tyler, so Tyler is in Northern Kentucky. And he's probably got some that he's gonna need to bless and release, we just talked about. So he's gonna probably be looking for some prospects. So if you had these lists and you were sitting in Tyler's role, how would you start prospecting for Northern Kentucky prospects for him to start qualifying?
All right. Let's see. Is there a way that we can do a filter on this? Wondering if there's a way to add something that involves a zip code or a county.
Yes, we should be able to filter counties. Paige, if you go to the top left, yeah, there.
Maybe a location.
Oh, I got it.
There we go. Yep.
Tyler, help me remember.
Campbell, Carroll,
Campbell, Carroll,
Kenton.
Gallatin,
Boom.
Boone, hold on, sorry. There's 6. Princeton, 3.
Got
So Grant,
Grant,
Grant. The big one, Grant. We're just gonna go with these for now.
So see how many of the lilac ones are in here. All right. So,
Number 11.
so you got 7. So the first thing I'd be looking at is the ones who are not assigned. So it looks like most of these are not. A couple of them do have assignments. We have some good giving capacity numbers.
Rosemary's a hard one. But she didn't update her voicemail. That's how I know she's like still living there, because when I called in 2023, it was if you have reached this number. Now it's like, well, you have reached Rosemary voice. So I know that she's there, still there. Just getting her to answer.
what about this Dorothy Gott house?
Let's click on her, because I know for a minute she was assigned to me and then we have assigned her.
Yeah.
I'll never lie, she's not here. That's the thing.
Do you wanna look?
Oh,
up
she's
the side, or do
95.
you want me to open it all the way up?
Scroll down, she's 95.
Ah,
I
yeah,
have a
that's,
full-
That's probably the issue.
yeah, yeah. I
And
was
she lives at the
wondering,
bigger
and
thing. Yeah, she lives in assisted living, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's,
Yeah.
Last year, I remember she told me that their address.
so
Are we
that's,
moving on from her?
what about the
Yeah.
next of Virginia Robinson ringing any bells with you?
Well, I think I just recently reached out to her last. Her animal stewardship.
Want me to open her up?
I can pull her up here. Let's say.
Yes.
You can open her.
Yeah.
He's 82.
still reasonably young, so to speak.
For 8 years,
See.
never more than $200.
She's been giving, yeah, it looks like
8 years,
small,
yeah.
smaller gifts. Do we know if these gifts are in, I saw that her spouse is deceased. Do you know if these gifts are in memory of her spouse?
I mean, we can
We can
look,
drill down and find out.
Yeah.
but,
It looks like it goes from general to memorial, general.
Yeah, so that she's doing both.
and they could be, Stephanie, we get lots of people who will send memorial gifts, not just for their family, but for other
Right.
people.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's a good chance that some of these are not just her family, but other people.
Right, yeah. So that's, because if she was only giving like in memory of her spouse, then that would be an occasion where you might, maybe like on an anniversary date or something like that, where you might do just a special outreach of appreciation. But if she's kind of giving in a lot of different ways, so she's giving small gifts, but looks like she might have potential to give more.
Steven's on the table to talk to her.
So any of these, I mean, these are all people I think we know. Chris Gamble,
Chris
Don
Gamble.
Barr, Rosemary Bills, we know all them. Fries. Dr. Tacey, there's nobody here who's a surprise. Becky Evans.
Right.
Kevin
Yeah.
Graves, Joe Beeman. Yeah, these are all people, unfortunately, in this case, they're all people we know and have tried.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
no hot prospects.
So,
Now,
so in
Jim
this,
is one of his counties, but.
Yeah. well, in this case, one of the things that you may want to do is you may kind of want to back it out a little bit and look potentially at the people who might have that target gift range more in the 5,000 to 10,000. They're the potential, with time and with increased giving, that target gift range can go up. So some of those people in that $5,000 to $10,000 range may have, the ability to give, these larger gifts over time. It's just that relationship needs a little bit more work. So that might be where you might see some more potential there for building out Tyler's list.
Do you all want to go look at a different list than Lilac?
We can, okay. We're still using other Kentucky.
I'm
Do you wanna look at the, is that the green list, so you can see the lower? And see if you have any prospects in there, does that be? Lower target gift range?
I know like Chris Gamble, I'm just waiting for the valuation because she says we're in her state.
And we have the ability to make these filters for each of you all, for your counties that you're serving, and save them as Mary's prospects. And they could be the combined thing or each color. And then that's there for you all to reference. You can save it somewhere to go back to, or you can find it. And then that's as you are working through your portfolio, be referencing back to and saying, okay, how can I build with new people that I can qualify?
Mhm. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Would that be helpful
Yeah,
for you?
absolutely. Paige Gallatin was the one I think you passed it up.
Thank you.
It's a little county.
Fine.
And Grant. And then Kevin.
I just always keep moving to get Kenton. There's money in Kenton.
Yeah, don't miss it.
Campbell's good.
A full 60.
You got 5 more in this one.
All right, so I'm looking right here at Bob, Bob giving those, he's given $1,000 gift before. I mean, other gifts have been small, but that's not far behind that 5,000 to 10,000 range.
It looks like he's a family member, so.
Good.
You want me to keep scrolling down?
Yeah, see there. Billy Bustle's a staff member.
Theodore Fitzgerald was assigned to me and
He asked
he,
me.
yeah,
So Carla, Mary Alice, we can move past them, right?
Right, we know both of them.
Mary Alice might be able to introduce me to Don Barr because I was just doing the mapping and they live close to each other. So
Okay.
I asked her because I need, I think, an introduction.
What about this Laurel Haggard? Is that one ringing a bell?
What's my verification?
Volunteer.
Looks like you did something with, I sent him an email.
Judy Chick did this one, I can't remember, like.
Want me to keep going?
Laurel Haggard was one that made it, and it was a volunteer department and a donation. It looked like they had some sort of event because there was something here with Lorian Cox, a bake sale, COVID-19. It looks like it was some sort of fundraiser.
I think that was at that church.
2020 Keep Safe
Donate
Christmas.
some, they would sell the bake
Oh,
sale.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably not the best prospect,
If
honestly.
she had her own business, I remember looking her up after that. I sent her an email first.
Well, I mean, I guess the point of today is just to kind of figure out how to use these lists to start prospecting.
Mhm.
And they do get much more reasonable when you filter by your counties.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had 19.
Supper maybe.
There's a lot, yeah.
Lexington's got.
Although I've got several employees. That's probably more like 16.
I feel good though, because all the people I just added are all on these lists, so.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
like,
great.
it's a good start. And when I've listened, release all these people, I'll go back to here.
Yeah. Yeah. The blessing and releasing is just as important as adding the people in. And, I know, that's often the hardest part.
It is for us. We don't like to let go.
All right. Yeah. How many times do you reach out before it's time to say no?
Yeah. We just had that discussion this morning.
Yeah.
Right. So what was your decision for you all?
Well, we didn't put a hard number in it, but it was really to really say, are they just gonna be an annual donor at 500 and that's great, but then let's not spend our time on them. Are they gonna, or, are they not responding at all? Then we need to bless and release. Are they responding and like to talk on the phone, but they won't meet with us? Well, do you think you can move them on the phone to the next level? If not, maybe we bless and release. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like, y'all have, some great strategy going on. So kind of, yeah. There are going to be some people who may not want to meet, but like I said, if you can get that, move them up to the next level, then that's great.
Yeah, I think we're finding post-COVID, the meetings are much harder than they used to be.
Yeah, I think that is the case, and probably especially with your particular constituents.
Yeah, the older donors, yeah.
Yeah, they're still very cautious.
Anything else on the list? You guys have curiosity about any specific lists, or Steve, anything else you wanted us to address today?
Kelly mentioned the types of donor. That's gonna be something new.
Your affinity.
Yeah. Like philanthropic,
Humanitarian.
humanitarian.
Categories.
Yeah.
Where does that show?
I don't think that's gonna show in what we've got modeling, is it, Stephanie?
You do have that with your affluence insights. I would say, especially those like philanthropists and humanitarian, different kinds of categories. Those can be useful if you're trying to figure out, what kind of messaging would someone be more likely to respond to? Would they like more to hear more like storytelling, or would they like more facts and figures and things like that? But in terms of kind of propensity to give and to give to you, those likelihood ratings and the boxes, here are going to be a better indication of, who's going to be likely to give at the higher levels. So those segmentations with the philanthropists and the humanitarians are largely behavioral. And like I said, it's data that you have. They are
And where do you
ratings.
see that? So,
How do we find?
yeah, I don't know where we see
Yeah.
that.
Let me look and see if that actually got synced over for you. Because if it didn't, then it's probably not going to be in your ratings. So let me just look over here in your research point on the back end. Let's see. So that particular information was actually not synced previously into your Razor's Edge. Is that information that you would like to see in there? If so, I can go ahead and set that up to sync.
Yeah, I think so.
Any help that we can get would be
Yeah.
nice.
They can
No.
also help us figure out how to gauge the donor and work out program depending if they're military. If one we send philanthropic.
Yeah.
So Stephanie, is this something that we need to resync everybody? How is that gonna work? Or is it just gonna be a one-off for when they're doing in Research Point and investigating people and syncing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can do the one-off, just for your most recent data for that particular, rating. And then we can set it up so that in the future, it will automatically sync that particular data field with your other data fields on your next project.
So you can just push it through from the back end with anybody you did the modeling on this past time.
Yep, absolutely.
Great, thank you. Please do that.
Mhm.
Stephanie, is there anything else that we might be missing that didn't sync that,
Other people do.
yeah.
Right, yeah. The other question, and I was actually going to ask that, the affluence wealth attributes, they were in the PowerPoint, that was that, discretionary spending, those 4 attributes. Looks like those were not synced over as well. Is that something you would like?
Yep. Do you
All
have any kind of cheat sheet that tells us what the different 4 levels are?
Yep.
Or can you walk us through it now or something?
Yep, I will send you a cheat sheet that it has all the definitions of anything you might see.
Perfect.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. One other thing that maybe, that I'm just looking at the stuff that that you did sync over, would be the estimated wealth. That's from your Research Point, like that, assets information, total assets. You are syncing over your major giving capacity, but the assets total is not syncing over. So
Is it confirmed or unconfirmed that would sync over?
yeah, let me just look at that real quick.
So it's unconfirmed. I don't really want it to sync because so much of it's wrong.
Right. Let me just look at this real quick just to make sure on a particular individual. That is confirmed.
But yeah, if it's confirmed, I would love to sync it. If it's unconfirmed, I don't want to.
Stuff
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
I was just double checking on Dennis's to see make sure that field name matched. So yeah.
Okay, great. That'll help.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get that started probably this evening because it tends to run faster overnight.
Yeah.
And I know we've been working on a little bit of stuff, a little bit of sync issues just in general. And I'll let you know when all of that's going to be in your Razor's Edge.
Thank you. And when you let us know, will you tell us exactly where to find it?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to end up in the ratings section where
Great.
your major giving likelihood and your target gift range is already. So it's going to be kind of over in that same section.
Anything else? And that's different color codes that we want to look at or think about. Is there one about plan giving that we're curious about? Or? No?
Yeah, I went over the plan giving one with Kelly, but
Again, I
it's
think,
very hard. That one is hard for me to understand because it's so,
Nebulous.
yes.
well, again, I think these lists are really there for us to, as we are looking for new individuals to engage with and try and determine if they are worthy of the time and energy for a portfolio assignment. Those are the people that we want to go to first. And that's going to help us with the qualification questions that we've got is, are they a high rated planned gift person? Let me make sure I'm asking this question about planned giving to understand if that's something they qualify for or not. And if it is, perfect. You have an opportunity there for a planned gift. If not, if there's no other opportunities for that person, maybe they don't need to be assigned. Or they need to be-
Bless and release.
Yeah.
Use it as a tool.
Yeah, I think all of this is the tools that we're gonna be using now that we're becoming more sophisticated in fundraising and with our portfolios, that as we're looking for those new people to fill the spots in our portfolio, these are where we want to draw from. And this is what's going to inform us on the higher priority people, those $10,000 to $25,000 target gift ranges. If there's limited numbers available for us, let's look at the next level down and see where we can pull from. So that we don't feel stuck with what we have in our portfolio, that we can lessen the leaks and bring in those new people to qualify.
So I pulled up on the screen. Here's all the lists if you want to look at any of the others. The different major giving ones and the plain giving, which I know we just talked about a little bit.
There's only 5 people in that 100 to 250,000.
Want me to open it?
Sure, let's just think who they are.
I think you was talking about a different one, 100 to 250.
Oh, did I pick the wrong
Yeah,
one?
you picked the wrong one.
Sorry.
Yeah, so that one is based on major giving capacity, I believe. That looks like.
The top one, 100 to 250, yeah.
I looked at this one.
And so the major giving capacity versus target gift range is in terms of their giving capacity as a whole, not
Yes.
necessarily what they are capable of doing for this one organization in 1 year.
Correct. And it's based solely on assets. So there's, I said, like you mentioned, there's no kind of likelihood or propensity kind of built in specifically to you. And like you mentioned, that's their broader total giving capacity.
We got a Pikeville guy.
We got Pikeville, and look at that Rodney Peterson down there.
Here they are, all 5 of them.
I was like, yeah, that needs sense of play.
Oh, Sandy Levy.
Yep.
The interesting thing,
Maybe a prospect to qualify.
Yeah, I was like, I know.
He might be a good one for taxi.
and all of
Don't
these
give them
individuals
money.
have given recently. They all have pretty recent giving, so.
Vaughn Rogers, he was released.
He was released, I think,
Yeah.
either from me or.
From you, yeah, it was from you. I did call him though, when he just gave you.
Yeah, maybe Leland Wallace and Rodney Peterson are the two to kind of look at that.
Leland, yeah, I was like, I obviously called, I called so many people during that time, I can't remember who I talked to. Jennifer, it was Rodney's wife, Jennifer, who made the get.
So I think for our
And
team,
I didn't get to
Yeah.
talk to them.
I think for our team, we need to figure out how best you all can utilize this stuff. Do you all feel comfortable going in and finding and filtering yourself and doing that on your own? Do we need to have these lists filtered and created specifically for you so you can just search it for yourself?
Which I'm happy to do.
Yeah, however we want, however can make it easier for you all to make sure that you have the access and feel comfortable going through this and finding the people that you need to find.
I mean, for me, in each of these categories, the numbers are not impressive. I mean.
But even if you find one that's a way to
I
qualify.
guess my point is, there's no reason to have Paige go in and do all of that.
Right.
I can do the county search.
Okay, I was just offering, whatever.
And in fact, I've done some of this work actually within Research Point, looking through and, saying, oh, there's a Indiana one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the thing. There's never gonna be a shortage for Cassie of people to find. For her, it's gonna be which ones to go to.
Yeah.
You two with the geographic restrictions, and you two in Frankfurt, are gonna, that's more your issue, is to find new people you haven't engaged with yet.
Yes.
And as you're going through these lists, the 3 dots on the left, you should be able to add an action in there to ask me to assign them to you. So that should make it easy for you to request that.
Did you all want to check in with Steffanie again in beginning of the third quarter, or see if we've got more questions, thoughts?
Yeah.
Stephanie, maybe we'll just go ahead and get a time in the second half of the year with you on the calendar, because I know you book out.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
then we'll just keep plugging away with what we got, because this is pretty new. These were all just created in the last few weeks, so we haven't really had a chance to play in detail with them yet.
right. Yeah, let me go ahead and pull up my calendar. Because, as you know, we do tend to kind of
Look way
book up.
out.
Yeah, I'm starting to get bookings in June already. So, and so that's when we. Yeah, I'd rather be busy than bored. That's for sure. All right, let's see. My calendar.
Pulses in August or September, so that's what you know.
We have the July 16th.
Or August 13th.
But August 13th, what does that look like for you, Stephanie?
August 13th, looks like my morning is booked, but I do have time in pretty much all afternoon.
Cool. Let's do 1 o'clock on August 13th.
All right, yeah. And Paige, are you gonna send out the invite for that? I know you know.
Absolutely. I will do that.
Great.
I still have to. All of our team meetings runs.
All right, good. Well, Stephanie, thank you. I think we'll dive in and see where we go with this in the next few months.
Sounds good, yeah. And if y'all come up with any questions kind of in between now and August that you need to have addressed right away, y'all have my email address, so feel free to reach out anytime.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
All right,
Stephanie.
yeah. Have a great afternoon.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.